Hey everyone, today Jesus has a kind of odd message. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever, and the bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh. Then the Judeans debated among themselves, asking, "How can this man give us his flesh to eat?" Jesus said to them, "I assure you, unless you eat the flesh of the human one and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood has the life of the age to come, and I will raise them up on the last day. My flesh is true food, and my blood is true drink. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood remains in me, and I in them. As the living Father sent me, and I live because of the Father, so whoever eats me lives because of me. This is the bread that came down from heaven. It isn't like the bread your ancestors ate and then they died. Whoever eats this bread will live forever." Jesus said these things while he was teaching in the synagogue in Capernaum. Yeah, Jesus, I don't know about this one. You can kind of understand, right, why the crowd has, I guess, lost their appetite for Jesus' teaching at this point. So what in the world is he talking about when he's saying that we're to eat his flesh and drink his blood? Now, the immediate response from some Christians is, well, he's just talking about the Lord's Supper, where we have this meal, right, bread and wine that represent the body and blood of Jesus. And John doesn't actually have a Last Supper meal. He has the foot washing instead at that point. And so, right, it's debated. Did he just kind of take that thinking, theology, and insert it here or not? Jesus talking about himself as bread, it doesn't seem like too much of a stretch if we have that ritual in mind. I mean, how often have you heard this passage used in a communion thought? I probably have used it myself. And so if John's community celebrates that sacred meal, then they probably would have gotten the connection, and he could assume they would. I think this is actually a good test case for what assumptions that we bring to the Bible. Christians who practice weekly communion or are more sacramental tend to just automatically see the Lord's Supper here. So that includes Church of Christ and also Catholics. But Christians who don't practice quite as regularly, they often don't read this in like we do. And also, honestly, we don't know what John's communities and churches practice. We assume, again, that it was all uniform from the start, but Christianity seemed to be a little more diverse in belief and practice from the beginning. We just don't know for certain what it was like. Now, I could spend a lot of time weighing in on that debate, but what really matters is to remember Jesus is talking in metaphors. He's comparing himself to bread, to food, to remind us of what truly sustains us. Communion is an example of that, but there are countless ways in which we are sustained by and receive life from Christ every single day. Christ is constantly giving of himself. He offers his life to provide life. Maybe the last way to think about it is a phrase we all know: you are what you eat. So, if we're fed by him, if Jesus is our source of life, then that is who we will become.